So, Jared has volunteered, sort of, to come up here and be our next camper. Jared's one of our counselors. Coming back second here, Jared? All right, so, here's our situation. Jared is busy doing an activity, and if you haven't been to camp, there are just dozens of activities run by many of our volunteers. It's amazing. And Jared's really into what's going on, but it's time to change. So I'm going to go sans mic here and just use my coaching voice. So, Jared, we need to go. It's time. It's our time to go to archery.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, I don't want to do this.
I know you do, but we can always come back later and do this. Why is this kid so defiant? Jared, we've got 4 minutes now. We have to go because everyone else is going, and you know I can't be alone with one camper. We can't just stay here. Child is so stinking stubborn. Oh, man, wish I could understand why he acts this way. Ladies and gentlemen, pull out your glasses. There's this thing called empathy, understanding where people are coming from. The great thing about camp, we don't always know where they're coming from or what they've been through. But we can throw on the glasses. Oh, you guys just got fabulously good looking. And I can say to myself, why would my camper act like this? It's such a simple thing. He's always got to be in control. Oh yeah, I get it. Hey, Jared, you know what? In 5 minutes, our group has to go to archery.
No.
Okay, so here's the deal, Jared. I know you're really loving this activity, and we'll come back to it later, maybe even tomorrow. So I have a choice for you. If we go right now, so we're like the first ones to archery, I will help you clean up so we can get there fast. Or if you want to do 5 more minutes of this activity, that is fine, but then you're going to have to clean it up yourself. Which would you like to do?
Can you help me clean up?
Yeah, all right, let's get it cleaned up. We'll be first there. We get the first one to hit the bow and arrow. Dude, this will be awesome. Nice job. Thank you. All right. All right, so we think their behavior is just to defy us, to annoy us, to make us crazy. It's not. As you heard in the video Marcia showed, a lot of times it's that they can't. We assume they have these skills, because I have a child that age at home, and they can do this, but that child probably didn't come from hard places like the ones that we're dealing with. So the idea here is tool number 2 is empathy. Empathy is seeing things from someone else's perspective, literally getting into their shoes. And I'm a counselor by trade. Empathy is what it's all about. I am helpful to people when I can understand their world and then help them to find their way to a better place. But I can't help them find that better place if I don't know where they're at and where they're coming from. So when you're having those moments of, why is my camper acting this way? Why do they have to be in control? Why are they this little con artist that's trying to finagle me? Understand, throw the glasses on, which is really hard to do with one hand. There, I look great. And just ask yourself, what might be going on? What might they need? What experience did they have that causes them to act this way, even in the face of such a simple task as changing activities? And we change activities a lot at camp. It's go, go, go. It's stuff all the time. It's jam-packed. It's great. But some kids really struggle with transitions. And here's the part that I think you have to come to accept. We often won't know why. In my line of work, we rarely ever ask that question because it doesn't get you anywhere. We weren't there when these children went through their difficult circumstances. Their current caregivers may not know. They just were kind-hearted enough to open their homes. We don't have to know why. We just have to think about how can we respond effectively even if we don't know what's causing the behavior. And we like to think that we have to know the cause to make a change. I don't believe that. Joan, who works in treatment, is shaking her head again. We don't have to know why. So is Jan. They work in the same facility. That's something we rarely ever get. And with our kids, and I learned this the first year I went really quickly, my goal, and I am a counselor by training, I have 30 years of experience, is not to counsel kids, not to provide therapy. It's to get them, I call it, back in the game so they can have the best week of their, year. So if a kid's having a meltdown, they're struggling, their behavior's challenging, my goal, your goal, is to get them back to functioning so they can enjoy everything that camp has to offer. We're not there to change them, we're there to give them this unbelievable experience, which will then change them, give them healing, and give them hope. So again, our goal is to be effective, not perfect. I used to run a pool, and I had about 20-some lifeguards on my staff, and so when I did training once a summer, we bring our local fire department in to train together. It was very useful for our kids and helpful for the fire department as well. And one of the harsh realities that the fire department helped our kids come to grips with is, you can do everything right, you can do the best that you know, follow all of your training, and there's no guarantee that things are going to work out the way that you hope. And that was really hard for and most of them were young kids, to accept. But that is the reality, that we may not be able to do everything for this child, but we make moments. And after year one, my saying was, success is measured in moments, progress is measured in years. And people who've been around RFK for a number of years, I can say names and you can go, oh, you should have seen that guy 3 years ago, okay? And I learned that real quickly, that progress is about years, but success is the moments. We make moments. And so if you can do that, avoid the struggle with your camper, help them to make that, and we'll talk later on about redos. Notice that when Jared made that good decision, it was high five, way to go, dude, because I want to reinforce that he did it right. And the video talked about having kids practice the behavior correctly. I used to coach, and practice does not make perfect. Anyone know what makes perfect? Jared.
Perfect.
Thank you. Perfect practice. If you practice it wrong, you're not going to get better at doing it right. So you want to practice it right over and over, and it literally starts to build those pathways in the brain where that child now has a new tool in their arsenal, so the next time they're in a situation, whoa, I've done this right before, I think I can do this. I work with teenagers primarily. I'm in a high school. So my colleague next door has a student. This is her extraordinarily difficult task. She needs to call UWM and ask them, have you received my ACT score? Oh my, you're not going to make me, it was terrible. And my colleague said, no, you need to do this. Punch the number in, put it on speaker, ask the question, thank them, boom. Well, now that she's done it once and survived this ordeal, it's going to be a little bit easier for her to do it the next time. And I see this all the time. Yes, at some point, you just have to try new behaviors. And once you've mastered it once, and from our point of view, they can never say, I don't know how to do that. Remember that. That can be real handy. Don't tell me you don't know how to do it. I saw you do it yesterday. It was awesome. Let's do it again. So, speaking of con artists, we can play that game too. So tool number two, you don't have to Velcro if you want. You can just, slide it in your waistband. So those rolls keep hiding in the waistband. There we go. So now you have two tools. We're going to finish up before the break with a really short video that talks about the difference between empathy and sympathy. Empathy is what we want. We want to understand where other people are coming from. Sympathy, not so helpful. Okay, so it's a little bit amusing too, so Brian, if you go ahead and fire up.